Welcome. I'm Stephanie Behnke, your host, and this is Conversations That Connect, a discussion series that brings together folks who are moving our industry forward. Today, we're going to be talking about how AI is reshaping insurance conversations, and we'll be doing that with Jonathan Tushman, Chief AI Officer and Chief Technology Officer at Marley. Welcome, Jonathan.
Uh, Thank you very much. It's great to be here. It's gonna be super fun.
It is. I've been looking forward to this. I know you and I have talked about AI a lot in the past, and you sort of can't read an article or turn around or go to a conference or meet with folks and not have AI at the center of those conversations. So I'm excited about today.
Totally, me too.
So when I think about looking ahead to 2026 and beyond, and I think about how is AI going to fundamentally change the way that insurance operates? And when I think about that, not just, claims and underwriting, but also about how teams collaborate and make decisions and work together. So I'd love to hear how you're thinking about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I love the way you phrased the last part about how teams are working together. I think that is going to be the biggest unlock, regardless of industry. I do think AI is like gravity, more so than any other technology change I've seen since in my professional career. Like this one is happening and it's happening fast. The one lens that I like to put on it that I think is a good construct for everybody here is that we are all learning organisms in this world of AI. So me individually, every day I am learning, I'm making mistakes with AI. My team is learning and making mistakes, and my whole organization is a learning organism in this moment. So just recognizing that as a team is a really important construct. We are going to be learning through this together. The pace of change of AI now is also bananas too. Like, what you think is normal now, 2 weeks from now, you'll have a whole different purview. Um, so I think that mindset of like, hey, we're learning together is a real healthy way for an organization to evolve. But the question about how teams working together, there's this concept that I've been noodling on, and again, everyone's this is new for everybody, but I've been talking about this concept of an integrated operating system. Um, so organizations have management operating systems, and now we have this new world where AI and agents are now having, their voice to be able to contribute into this world. And how do these guys work together? Um, and what that means in practice is you can think about every time a decision gets made. Right now, knowledge is dispersed all across an organization. But if you now can have this knowledge centralized and AI agents have it at their fingertips, they can be real active participants on how good decisions get made individually when you're working on your own work product or as a team that's working or as an organization. So I think that's going to be something that we see teams really experimenting with and getting real great value in the early innings of AI.
Awesome. Thank you. The insurance industry has been historically cautious with new technology and sometimes for good reason.
Totally.
But where do you think that AI can deliver sort of immediate, sort of low risk value for carriers, and where should leaders be more deliberate or restrained?
Yeah. Let me answer that in two parts. The first thing I want to acknowledge is compliance now more than ever is a superpower here. So organizations that have innovative compliance organizations are going to be at an incredible advantage than organizations that don't. Right now, historically, if you're in organizations, compliance organizations and IT organizations tend to feel like the bad guy, the people that always say no. And in this new world where AI is coming here, there's all new set of tools, and then all new set of tools that could have integration points to other core systems. There's two modalities that a compliance team can take. The default mode is no, and say no to everything. And then you and your organization are going to fall behind. And on the flip side, you can say yes to everything, and then you're going to expose yourself to unnecessary risk and have a huge failure. So you need to find that balance. And if you get that, if you invest in your compliance team and have them shine, the ones that understand the nuance of AI, um, I bet those companies are going to do super, super well. Um, so um, this is going to be one of my missions over the next couple of weeks is really to amplify the power of a smart compliance organization. In terms of what can be doing now as an organization, I think like we talk in High Marley about crawl, walk, run. I think probably many organizations have similar kinds of topographies of describing how they use AI. So in the beginning phases, it's all about gathering information and making recommendations. So everyone should get really good at doing that. So talking about a claims file to do a case summary is a really obvious first step to get your hands dirty on it. Suggest next response is another common one as well in the claims world. The first phase is absorbing data to synthesize and help make decisions. Then comes, then you're in move at your own space. The next space is going to be, taking recommendations and have human innovation to do X, Y, and Z. And eventually we're going to get to full on automation. Um, in terms of areas that I expect insurance organizations to hit first, where the technology is most mature, will be on the customer support side of things, basic service requests, things that are simple, not long running, billing inquiries, where you can quickly understand and have a very concrete response. There'll be huge ROI there. And then as the models get better, as your comfort gets better, as your organization gets better at dealing with stuff, you start moving into more complex works across each organization. Um, but the key is to give the tools to your organizations. I don't think this should come from the top down. I think you should enable your team to get comfortable with these tools and have them tell you how they should be innovating with their organizations.
Yeah, I love the invitation for compliance organizations to be innovative because oftentimes they have been viewed as the rule of law and
Yes,
they feel like the safest path is the best path, and that could be almost dangerous in a world where everybody is moving kind of at light speed. So finding that balance that you talked about, I think, is going to be critical.
totally critical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I also think about, you talk about teams using it and inviting teams to participate in AI. I will say I think there's some cultural changes that have to happen there too. Like I think about the very first time that I used AI to assist in my job. I have to admit, Jonathan, like I felt guilty. I was like, okay, I was normally it would take me 4 hours to write
yeah.
this blog or to do this research and then make a recommendation. And I had both ChatGPT and Claude assisting me, and I did it like literally in minutes. And there was kind of oh wait, that feels almost it feels like cheating. I don't know how to describe it, but I think there's
No,
some
totally.
cultural changes that we have to go through as well.
Totally. There's cultural changes. And the way I actually code that is identity changes. So I'm an engineer. For the last 25 years, I would describe myself, I'm a hands-on keyboard technologist. And my happy place was, writing software programs, organizing files, writing code, making crazy TypeScript stuff, adding indexes on tables. And now with my new way of our new way of writing code, I don't do that anymore. So if your identity is an engineer that writes code and your identity is how you do the work, this will be a change that you'll need to adapt to. But if your identity is on why you do the work and you have this curiosity, you are going to gravitate to these tools and be really excited about it. So mission-driven companies, I think, will do really well here. And I do feel most of the insurance companies are really, truly mission-driven companies. The reason why people work here is to make their policyholders feel safe and secure. And if that is your shining light, like the reason why you do your work is for that, then the how you do your work should become secondary. Um, but for the people that are, I'm not gonna lie, like this identity of how you do your work is ingrained with many, many folks, and it's gonna be a shift as people adopt these new tools.
Yeah, and I think a shift for leaders too, right? The way you're leading is again, to your point, you're leading the people who are asking something to create on their behalf,
Yeah.
right? Which again, I think is different.
Yeah. And I think we're gonna see some anti-patterns out there on this. Is like, if I can see an organization saying, oh wow, this is a super efficient way to do things. This is going to save us a bunch of time. And you can see from the top down saying, hey, cool, let's use AI and really squeeze efficiency with the organization. And with that mandate, you're going to create stress and not necessarily create an environment to learn. I think what I hope people do is give people the tools and the areas to explore with these things, to come up with their own ways to innovate and to improve their organizations, and that will naturally flow up. And So I think that's the right phase we're in now is this education activation phase. And we shouldn't be Pollyannic about it. I think at some point we need to insist upon efficiency. But step one is get people excited about these tools, get excited about these new ways of doing things. And I think this will all, I think that's a more healthy way to go about this journey.
Yeah, I love the idea of entering this phase of our careers with curiosity
Yeah,
rather than
always.
a mandate or worse, fear,
Yeah,
right? You don't want
100%.
to operate out of fear here.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in your view, what is the biggest misconception insurance leaders have about AI today, as I know you've met with a lot of folks, and what mindset shift is required for them to use it, kind of like we said, effectively versus kind of fearfully or reactive?
Yeah. I think it's a couple things. Is right now, I think the biggest problem that AI have is a classification issue or a topography issue. Is that AI in your brain means one thing, AI in my brain means something else. And I bet if you ask everybody in the organization what it is and what it does, you're going to get a big plethora of answers. And the and and it's nuanced. And so I think the first thing you want organizations to do is to have a healthy classification of what AI is and what are the areas it is best to be used for, what kind of problems it can be used for, what kind of problems can not be used for. Um, because when done in too broad of a brush, back to we talk about compliance, but also the legal side of these things too, you'll have these organizations really shut things down without fully understanding the nuance of these things. So I think in terms of the misconception, like what I want people to do is to come up with their own classifications of where AI is in the business and which problems they can solve for. So, for example, like case summarization is a very simple, is not making a decision, is this helping this person do his job? That should be classified somewhere else. And of course, like AI trying to make a underwriting decision is a very, very different classification. So that's a very extreme example. Or even like spell check, that's using AI as well,
Right.
right? So there's this thing we need to classify, like this class is super okay, and this one needs to have a different level of scrutiny. And then there's simple things like, hey, I'm using ChatGPT, that's AI for a conversation, or I'm having AI embedded in my application, which is a very different thing. So I think it's important for a company to paint this classification, understand these things, understand what the guardrails are with each one of these things. Um, so I think that's how I want to the takeaway for our listeners here.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think it really also helps focus compliance teams.
Yeah,
So when I say this is going to summarize, no one's going to see it. It's not,
yeah,
it's not material to the case. No decisions were made. It didn't impact the cost of the claim or the severity of the claim. That's a very different, as you said, it's a very different use case than a coverage determination, right?
yeah,
Or a risk determination. So I like that classification. Um, at Hi Marley, we talk a lot about, connection and empathy, and they're core to making insurance more lovable. So how do you see AI actually enhancing rather than replacing human moments that matter in those
yeah,
insurance transactions?
yeah. We think about that all the time here, and I will just say honestly, this is a wacky time where AI keeps on taking interesting parts of your job out there. So it is acknowledgement that it's a weird time, and you really need to be deliberate about that question. It's one of our core principles here at High Marley, so we often we have it enshrined and we point to it as we make our decisions. But what gives me the most hope here is that there is still so much rote work that frontline insurance professionals do that if they didn't have to do it, they can spend more time on when you say the moments that matter. And I do think uh, I'm not saying it's an infinite amount, but there's our policyholders are hungry to have human to human moments with the insurance company. And if AI can take, you know, 50 or 60% of the rote work away and allow our frontline people to have more serious conversation, I think that's going to be a win for everyone. So understanding what the rote stuff is, get that off of these people's plates and allow these guys to focus on these human connections is what I'm most excited about with this technology.
Yep. It sounds like there's a lot of workflow analysis and process analysis
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
our
yeah.
way, right?
Yeah,
So that we can
totally.
really dive in and understand what is the best place and the right place so that we can redeploy humans where they matter the most.
Yeah,
I love
totally.
that
Totally.
perspective. One of the things that we do here on Conversations That Connect is we always end with our two standard questions. The first is, what can people do tomorrow to put what we've discussed into action?
Yeah. Great question. And the main thing that everyone here listening to this call needs to get their hands dirty. Um, Not just using ChatGPT or Claude, but these next level of tools. So Claude Code is the one that I'm using, but you can use ChatGPT's Codex. Whatever it is, get your hands dirty on this next level of tools that help build things that help you build things. So instead of creating things, I now create things that create. Uh, I see lots of stuff on LinkedIn and people are talking about it, but you need to invest your time to learn how to use it. And feel free to ping me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to help paint a path for you guys to learn this, but you have to get your hands dirty. Um, I think that's probably the most important thing. So demystify what this is. Build yourself a to-do app, build yourself a note-taking app. That's going to be a really big unlock to understand the power of these capabilities at this moment.
Excellent. I like the idea of getting your hands dirty so you can experience it firsthand.
Yep. Yeah. And there's no, and like, and you'll be afraid and you might be asking dumb questions. There are no dumb questions. Everyone's having the same dumb questions. Um, Find a buddy, learn together, dive in.
Well, I think, it takes us back to where you opened, which is we're all learning this together. So even folks who are much more comfortable than I am are still learning about
Totally.
AI every day.
Every day. And so am I.
Yeah,
Every day.
it's wonderful. So if you could bring that, so now we kind of go um, really pie in the sky, Jonathan. If you could bring about any change in our industry, what would it be?
Yeah. And I think this just ties back to like, this identity of who we are and how we do our work. I've been in the insurance industry. I'm a newbie to the new insurance industry. I've been here for only 4 years, but everyone that I've met, everyone is super mission driven and are doing the work. They really care about this concept of insurance. Um, and so, like, what I want to change is more of this the perception of insurance and an insurance worker with the broader community. I think it has a bad rap when people say, "Hey, I'm working for insurance." They think, "Oh, you're trying to optimize a dollar here and there." No, like I'm really trying to make it a this important construct more available to others. So I don't know. I don't know how that. And so I think, A, let's keep on doing this. Let's keep on bringing
Yeah.
humanity into the way we do our work. And I think hopefully that will come across.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Thank you for being our inaugural guest on
Yeah.
Conversations That Connect, and thank you for your time.
This was super fun. Thank you.